Is it okay to ship real people? That is a question that kind of surfaces on the periphery of my awareness every once in a while, and I do have an opinion, but it's kind of a complex, multi-layered one, I guess. My general rule in life is anything's fine as long as it doesn't hurt anybody. So if something does some kind of obvious damage or hurt, then I try not to do it, even if it's socially acceptable or somehow justifiable, and even if everyone around me does it. But if the thing in question doesn't do any kind of apparent damage, then I consider it to be generally fine, even if I personally don't like it or find it weird or gross or something else to that effect. So when it comes to shipping real people, personally, I don't do it because it kind of makes me uncomfortable. Because when you ship fictional characters, it's like you want those fictional characters' fictional lives to go a certain way. But if you ship real people, it's like you want those real people's real lives to go a certain way. And of course, you don't actually have any control over them and you're not forcing them into anything, but it's just that the idea of wanting people to pair up in a way that you want them to, or imagining real people in certain situations for your own entertainment and gratification, it just makes me uncomfortable. However, how I personally feel about it has no bearing on whether or not it's okay. What matters is whether or not it does some kind of damage. So, does shipping real people actually do any kind of harm? Well, firstly, I think that if you just ship people in your head without ever talking about it or discussing it in any way, then it can't do any kind of harm because what happens in your head has no effect on the outside world or the people in it. So as long as you don't release that information into the world, then it can't hurt anybody. But once you start discussing it, once you start creating fan art, writing fan fiction, talking about it on social media, in all probability, sooner or later, it will reach the people that you ship. And that's where it gets interesting. If they're okay with it, then it's fine, because there's no harm done. But if for whatever reason they're not okay with it, then it has the potential to actually hurt them. For instance, if people start shipping me with a friend of mine, and my friend doesn't like it, they might choose to no longer spend time with me because they don't want people to ship us together. This could actually destroy our real-life friendship. In situations like this, shipping real people could actually do damage in their real lives, and I think this is when it stops being okay. And I think it's also important to note that it does make a difference how you ship people. That is to say that if you're respectful and acknowledge that your shipping is essentially just fantasy that has no connection to the real world, it's not quite the same as if you invade the privacy of the people that you ship, stalk their friends and family for proof that they're together, and constantly harass them on social media with demands that they come out as a couple. If you do the latter, then even if the people that you ship are okay with shipping in general, you're still probably going to hurt them with that behavior. However, that is applicable to pretty much everything. That kind of behavior is not unique to shippers. There are plenty of people in the world who are just fans of someone who harass and stalk their favorite celebrities, sometimes to the point where restraining orders have to be taken out against them. But that doesn't mean that being someone's fan is bad in and of itself. And the fact that horrible, disrespectful shippers exist doesn't make shipping bad in and of itself. It just means that with shipping, like with everything else in life, the general don't be a dick rule applies. But what do you do when the people that you ship have never actually addressed how they feel about it? Well, honestly, I have no idea. First and foremost, I think it's important not to presume to know how they feel, because I do see that quite a lot. There are people who say, well, of course they're okay with it. If they weren't, then they would have said something by now. But that's not necessarily true. They might be choosing not to address the issue, perhaps because they don't want to upset or alienate any part of their fandom. But then there are also people who say that shipping real people is inherently hurtful to them, which I think is also not true. Some people just genuinely don't care. And some celebrities actually welcome shipping because it could have a positive effect on their career. When people ship someone, they want to watch them. They want to talk about them, discuss them, consume more of their content, create more positive buzz around them. So this could up the marketability of the people that are being shipped. So plenty of celebrities are actually perfectly fine with being shipped, and some actually use it to move their career forward, while others just want their fans to be happy, and they don't mind being shipped because they know that this brings joy to their fans. So I really don't think that we should presume to know how people feel if they've never actually addressed the issue. And what do you do in this situation? Well, you could not ship them until they say that it's okay, or just ship them in your head. Or you could ship them until they say that they're not okay with it. But if you really care about how the people that you ship actually feel about it, and you genuinely don't want to ship the people who don't want to be shipped, then shipping people until further notice kind of puts you on thin ice, I guess, because it could turn out that they actually really don't like it, and then you will have been doing something that was hurting them all along. Either way, I think that it's important to acknowledge that until the people in question actually say how they feel about the shipping, we really don't know how they feel, and I don't think that we should presume to know what their emotions are. This is what makes this issue so complex, because I don't think that shipping real people is inherently okay or not okay, because it's not hurtful or not hurtful by default. It depends on the specific people that you're shipping and how they feel about it. This is what happens when real people are involved. Real people, they ruin everything. That's why I prefer fictional characters.